This is the book of Second Corinthians chapter 2 and 11. It reads, Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. First and foremost, I like to give all thanks, glory, honor, and praise to the supreme power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kahakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Stone. Peace and salutation to the hopefully elect. Alright, shalom to the few sisters watching and learning. Stay strong and remain humble. This is the Brother Kaza one from GMS Muhammad's camp. Back at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai with another lesson. God's willing the lessons be edifying and serve the purpose, which is to help build the spiritual tabernacle of King David. Alright. Satan can't take advantage of us, man. We already know that this kingdom, the kingdom of the so-called white man, is circling the drain. We know how close we are, to the return of Lord Yahweh Shai and Mashiach, to rule in righteousness on this earth. We know how close we is to World War III. We know how close we are to the mandatory implementation, of that charagma, that mark of the beast, But we also know that this damn devil, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, the so-called white man, has an agenda, and they have their agenda laid out, which is to basically eradicate, you so-called Native Americans, Negroes, and Latinos, as many as they can, and now they also they push the agenda of the Fruity Pebbles people, the brokers people, the zesty people, they make it possible now, whereas, two men, or two women, can basically procreate in a robot and produce children, but to what cost? To what cost? That's how wicked, this world is. That's how wicked, the so-called white man is. That's how wicked. This is why the Lord Yahweh Shai has to come back and cleanse us, to put everything back in its rightful order. Okay? I'm going to play a snippet. I'm going to play a little short video, and get a couple of precepts and try and drive my point home, Lord's willing, and that's be edifying.
What was once confined to the dark visions of science fiction is now becoming a stark reality. Scientists in China have unveiled a concept that could forever change the meaning of life and parenthood and what it is to be human. A new arms race is underway, not for military might, but for the very process of creation. Here's more.
Imagine a world where the act of pregnancy is no longer a human experience but a technological one. A world where babies are grown in a sterile, artificial womb inside a machine. Something depicted in sci-fi cult movie The Matrix, it's the audacious new reality being pursued by Chinese scientists. They are developing what they claim is the world's first pregnancy robot, a humanoid surrogate capable of carrying a baby to term and giving birth. This machine, they say, will be equipped with a cutting-edge artificial womb that receives nutrients through a complex network of hoses and tubes. The humanoid, priced at around $1,400, being reportedly developed by Kaiwa Technology, a Guangzhou-based tech company. But with every breakthrough comes a burning question. Just because we can, should we? For centuries, pregnancy has been the most human of experiences. Replacing it with machines sparks fierce ethical debate. What does it mean for the sanctity of motherhood and the human bond between parent and child? There is also the question about who will control these artificial wombs. Will babies become products designed, engineered, manufactured? Critics warn of a slippery slope where life itself is commodified. Will the rich buy robo-surrogates while others grapple with infertility or medical risks? The implications are enormous, and the world is watching closely. Bureau Report VON World is One.
For all the latest news, download.
Alright, so there you have it. Alright. Witchcraft and pharmakia The so-called white man strikes again. I can read this one again. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. You know they only doing this for them fruity pebbles people. All right, who wouldn't be able to procreate, but now with $1,400, all right, they could buy their little robot, all right, and basically make a mutant. Because that's what that's gonna be. That's a mutant man. That wasn't procreated. You understand the way that the Most High Power Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai established it to be. All right. This is the book of Micah 2:10. It reads, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction." And that is so true. All right. This is why we're trying to get from Rania. This is why we encourage bad things to happen. This is why we need bad things to happen in order for our kingdom to be established, because of the wickedness what's going on in the world. And this is just basically one little speck across off of the bread, all right, with the amount of wickedness that is going on in this world. Okay, you have all kind of atrocities going on throughout these wars. All right, you have all kind of mandates and unrighteous decrees and all kind of damn things with the so-called white man is doing. So-called Native Americans, Negroes, and Latinos. We have all kind of wickedness, all kind of witchcraft being practiced all over the world. All right, among a bevy of other things in which our people partake in also. Because 2/3 of our people are allotted for death. You don't care for the elect. You don't care to open the elect eyes. And as a matter of fact, only Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai can open the eyes of the elect. All right. This is the book of Job, chapter 5 and 12. It reads, disappointed. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And I want you to know, okay, there's gonna be some things going way off, all right, with these mutant babies, with these robot babies, these babies being born by the robot womb. All right, we're gonna have some mutants coming out there, and they're gonna be able to design them, basically Manchurian candidates, you might as well call them. All right, if anyone's familiar with that Denzel Washington movie, all right, they come in chipped. I might as well tell you right now, they come in chipped with the mark of the beast. All right, so they're going to be able to be controlled. All right, next precept I got, it's in the book of Proverbs. All right, Proverbs chapter 4 and 16. It reads, "For they sleep not, except they have done mischief." Who is talking about? The physical demon, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon, Satan, so-called white man. All right, this is expert scientist. All right, the top banking families, the elites. All right, they can't sleep unless they do something messed up. They can't sleep unless they do wickedness. All right, it says, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause someone to fall. All right, and that is so true. All right, that's their agenda. All right, like I said, their agenda is to take over so-called Native Americans, Negroes, and Latinos. So every day they wake up, they're trying to devise new plans to take you out. Okay. Next precept I got here, I close up with Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and I can start from verse 18. It reads, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man." All right, and guess what? We gotta stay on track. We gotta continue to do what we're doing. All right, the whole duty of man. All right, is to fear Yahweh and keep his commandments. All right, continue to walk and establish that relationship with Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, because the times that are coming, all right, it's gonna be crucial. All right, perilous times are coming. Perilous times are on the way. All right, and only the elect of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai are gonna see their way through out of it. All right. Verse 14 reads, "For Yahweh shall bring every wicked to judgment with every secret thing." All right, so this so-called white man with these robot babies and these robot wombs, all right, created just for the disaster people to have children. All right, the Most High Power Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, or is going to take that into consideration when he brings his righteous judgment. All right, when he brings righteous judgment on the earth, it's going to be justified. You understand? Here read it again, verse 14. "For Yahweh shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil." All right, so you're going to be judged based on your works. All right. And as we see the works of this so-called devil, all right. Boy, listen. The only thing you can do is repent, come back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, and don't get caught with your pants down. All right, be ready for when the supreme power, all right, comes back. All right, be ready for when Lord Yahushai comes back to rule and reign, all right, in all righteousness. All right. So just a little short lesson I wanted to get into. God's willing was edifying, it serves a purpose. All right. So with that, I'd like to give all thanks, glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Bakaha, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Stone. Peace and salutations to all praise that. All right, this is Brother Cosmo. I'm closing out until we meet again. Shalom, Abad, Babal, and Ban-Yasharahla.